Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from Tinaheals.com, and this video is about Mars in Aries. Okay, so let us understand Mars in rulership. Mars in Aries, which is very fiery, which is very agitating, because Mars cuts and burns, and Mars in Aries is more Martian than any other placement. So I was going to do this video on a Tuesday, which is the day of Mars, but I thought to myself, why not approach this topic in a more intuitive manner? And the moon is our intuition. So on the day of the moon, I want to present to you my intuitive insights about Mars, or Mangal in Vedic astrology. Mars is very interesting, and a ton of astrologers seem to think that he is one-dimensional. You get what you see. Yes, to a certain degree that can be true, but Mars has a lot of esoteric implications and a lot of energies that the more you work with Mars, the more you imbibe his spirit, his invocation in your life, you understand and work with this energy better. Yes, the Mars energy, it becomes easier to deal with after a certain age, which is 24. Okay, the color of Mars is red. The day is Tuesday. Okay, and Mars does well in night charts because he's nocturnal. Saturn, the greater malefic, Mars, the less malefic. Okay, now why are the planets classified as benefics and malefics? It's because benefics tend towards moderation, whereas malefics like Saturn, excessively cold, okay, excessively dry, Mars, excessively hot, excessively dry. They separate, the malefics separate, okay, and Mars is all about cutting and burning. Okay, it's fiery. Mars is fiery, right? And the metal it rules is iron. It rules all iron workers and swordsmen and swords and surgeons, as well as soldiers and the military junta and all of that. Okay, now when you think of Mars, you think of the color red, and red, yes, red can be life, lust, blood, and ultimately red does portend of danger. Okay, there is a dangerous quality to red. Okay, if we can truly understand it, that's why birds see red, right? It is a dangerous component to it, and none understands this dangerous component like Mars in Aries. Okay, and Aries is a day sign, so here in a sense Mars is like, a very forthright. That's why also I refrained from doing this video on a Tuesdays, because I would be telling you about Mars with a Martian vibe, but that's done. So why not approach Mars more intuitively and try to understand the very essence of what he is trying to teach us by separation. Okay, rules Aries, of course we know that, Scorpio in traditional astrology, and is exalted in the 28 degrees of Capricorn, and is in fall in the 28 degrees of Cancer. He's in detriment in the two signs opposite the signs he rules. So he rules Aries, so Libra he's in detriment, and he rules Scorpio, so in Taurus he's in detriment. So these two signs, okay, Libra and Taurus. Venus ruled. So we see Venus as a sort of standoff point, or a sort of opposing force to Mars. So when we try and grasp the meaning of Mars, if we try to see what he presents to us, that is in opposition to Venus, we tend to understand things easier. Okay, so Mars cuts and separates, Venus binds and integrates. Mars is yang, Venus is yin. Mars is active, Venus is more passive. Venus tends to moderation. Like I said, the benefics tend towards moderation. That's why they are known as the greater and lesser benefics. It's not that they don't bring in dangerous components to the natal chart or to transits or progressions, but it's just that they tend towards moderation, which is awesome, which is what we need, right? Now, Mars is power, raw power. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars. So immediately you understand these planets are about hegemony, power, right? And definitely Mars in Aries is about power, courage. This is the archetype of the pioneer, trailblazer. So you know, Mars is about strength. When you see someone with Mars in Aries displaying their magnificent Martian traits, you tend to see that they are balanced. They know what to do with this crazy energy that Mars in Aries brings forth. Okay, it's not a tiny bit of energy. It's not like, oh, I did my Pilates and yoga and that's it, I'm done. No, you've got to burn that energy, or that fire, that Martian fire will burn you and consume you. Okay, it is not easy to work with Mars. Mars is a violence, rage, screams, lies, deceit. Okay, also passion, lust, um, competitiveness, the spirit of competition. Okay, war, destruction, the military mechanism. And Mars and Aries can be in the military, because that's one place that they know how to channel this crazy Martian power. Okay, destruction. Mars is destruction, but Mars is also leadership, right? And if we contrast that to the Venusian leadership, it is about caring, it is about inclusion, whereas Mars is about separating, it's cutting, it's burning, it's about exclusion. Okay, fire, problems with fire. Okay, assertiveness, when we assert our boundaries, when we assert what we need, that is a healthy Mars. And Mars in Aries knows how to assert themselves. Okay, if they're doing it healthily, then people understand that they are working for their own boundaries of other people. But if it's just a selfish, egotistic things, because Aries can be quite egotistical, this is the first sign of the zodiac. And here you sort of you're the infant of the zodiac, so you think everything is about me, and you are ruled by fiery Mars, who just wants to go ahead. Mars can be impulsive in Aries. It needs to ground itself. Doing a day job is not gonna cut it, for you. You are the pioneer. You are probably one of the most visionary people of the zodiac. Okay, yes, you can be out and about, adventuring around, discovering things. Yes, there's that component to Mars in Aries. Okay, Mars in Aries is confrontational. It is not going to back down. Okay, this is dominance. So Mars in Aries in bed is definitely about dominance. If you're a woman, you have Mars in Aries, you seek a partner who's dominant. Okay, really dominant, and huge drive for life, like a lust for life. Okay, an urgency, swift movement with Mars and Aries, just very swift, fast, especially. And Mars does well in Aries, because Aries is traditionally the first house and Mars rules it. And if Mars is in the first house, it's almost vibing off this Mars in Aries pioneering energy. Mars in the first house, you look young. Okay, you look beautiful. Mars can be very, very sharp, the energy of Mars. Think about swords, sharp, okay? Quick, and it cuts. I always say Mars cuts, separates, okay? Burns, very hot, very dry. And Aries is hot and dry, so it rules the head. Mars in Aries, you can have migraines, chronic acne and stuff like that, but you're very, very action oriented. Mars in Aries, there's no stopping you, and you need to dominate a room, in the bedroom, outside with your friends. You need to dominate the conversation. Okay, even if people are having a conversation, you can just butt in and throw it around. Okay, you're mostly the alpha guys in the group. Okay, now with Mars in Aries, Mars rules two signs, okay, Aries and Scorpio. Now Mars in Aries is more confrontational, more forthright, because this is fire, okay, cardinal fire. Cardinal wants to start something new. So Mars in Aries wants to start something new, okay? It's an impetus for tremendous power here that you have, that you can access, okay? But in Scorpio, Mars becomes more cold and deceitful, okay? More towards things that are hidden, works more in the hidden dimensions, Mars in Scorpio. But Mars in Aries is deliberate power. This is me, this is my power, deal with it, okay? Now, as Venus gives, Mars takes. So Venus also has every single aspect of this energy of, whether you talk about creativity, you talk about power. Mars has its own creative power because it's action oriented, okay? Venus's creative power is more about creating things out of nothing, okay? And Mars may destroy something to create something. So there's this disparity. Venus gives and Mars takes, right? Mars also rules earthquakes and tremors and all of that. So Mars in Aries is definitely a time when all of this gets very activated, okay? And of course, like I said, headaches, you know, volcanoes in the head, it can be very painful. Mars rules the water triplicity system, and if you have a lot of Mars, then in Ayurveda you have a Pitta imbalance. Okay, Pitta imbalance means it could mean a lot of things. I'll get into the health components, especially with Mars in Aries. This is so correct, because you have an excessive heat, and all the diseases due to excess heat can occur with this, okay? Garlic on empty stomach, 6 roasted garlics on empty stomach really does wonders, in 1.5 liters of water and 1.5 hours of consuming nothing in the morning will balance your Mars energy, okay? Now, sports is one way to channelize this athletic Mars in Aries energy, okay? Because this energy is about, you know, military warfare, literally. So what else can you do? You are the new gladiators. They are the footballers, the boxers and stuff like that. And Mars and Aries can very well be that. Now, of course, Mars rules the decan in rulership by decante. If you look at decan, D-E-C-A-N, decan. In Aries, Mars rules the degrees 1 to 10. So if you have your Mars in the degrees, the first decan 1 to 10, then you're more Martian than, say, the second decan or the third decan of Aries. So if you have your Mars in the 1st to 10 degrees, you are, oh boy, are you Martian, okay? Now, if you think, let's talk about the illnesses and the anatomy that Mars rules, okay? And since Mars rules Aries, a lot of this is, you know, tied up and strung together in commonality. So the gallbladder and all issues with the gallbladder, and this can, you know, be exacerbated with, say, a day chart, Mars and Aries, and you don't do well in a day chart. Mars doesn't do well in a day chart, okay? Left ear, and this is very interesting, left ear, okay? And the sun rules the right eye. So there's definitely a deep connection with the sun and Mars, which I'll get into the symbolism. And don't forget, the sun is exalted in the sign of Aries. So this gives the sun power, and like I've been saying, that Mars is not just mindless war. Mars is taking all this stellar energy from the sun and is a tool, literally of a tool for seeding 3D. That's why the symbolism of Mars is so phallic. And Mars in Aries is probably the most phallic of them all, okay? Now, Mars also rules burning fevers, migraine. I told you Mars in Aries, this can be exacerbated. Carbuncles, the plague, okay? Coronavirus is ruled by Mars. And Mars now is in Aquarius. So this is with Saturn, just past Saturn, and then Mars is going to go into Aries soon after his sojourn in Pisces, and that'll be a retrogradation of Mars. So this 2020 is really heavy with Martian and Venusian energy and the opposite forces of giving and taking, of blending and separation, okay, of love and loss, right? Now, ringworm. So if you have problems with ringworms, that means your Mars is not balanced, my friend. Okay, distempers in the head, yellow jaundice, you need to appease Mars. Work with Mars if you have any of this these illnesses. Wounds of all kinds. Mars and Aries can get wounds very easily. Okay, any disease, basically scars, of course, and problems with the male genitalia, so erectile dysfunction or anything, even hernia, right? All of this. So prostrate, looking after your prostrate, and prostrate massages can be very effective with Mars in Aries or Scorpio. Okay, pitta imbalance could also lead to body odors, chronic acne. Okay, it's crazy. The angel, of course, is Samuel of Mars to summon, and it's beautiful because you can work with angelic energies to balance planetary energies. The R, of course, of Mars, if you're Mars in Aries, this becomes so much more amplified because Mars is your ruler of your ascendant. So you call him on the 1st or 8th hour of the day. Okay, of Tuesday, remember, Mars is to be invoked on a Tuesday wearing red, right? Mars and Aries, my message to you before I go is, if you try to approach Mars with an ego-based understanding, all you will find is devastation and destruction and cutting and burning and separation and loss and what have you. But if you approach Mars through the spiritual understanding of the sun, then you are here to be a trailblazer like none other. Mars and Aries, this is for you. You do not, or you cannot control or subdue this Mars and Aries. You've got to balance it. Everything is, that's why benefics are benefics, because they work with moderation. So Mars and Aries, you need to cut that impulsiveness and understand moderation, because that is the need of the hour for all of us actually. That's what Saturn has stripped us bare and shown us, moderation, like we've never learned before. It is ultimately pure energy, Mars, and he is the solar tool for seeding 3D. That's why he's phallic, and as I said, Mars in Aries is as phallic as it gets. So and that is how Ein Sof or Brahmin or Godhead or God the Spirit seeds humanity through the phallic outgoing active tool, that is Mars, right? Mars is the 5th sphere in the Kabbalah, and it is called Gevura. Okay, and Gevura is quite an interesting, I'll make a separate video on all the Kabbalistic associations to astrology. But right now you need to know is number 5 is a diabolical number of contrast. The Pythagoreans called it the nemesis. Okay, nemesis. So Mars is literally vibing off that number 5. You can imagine now. So that was a bit about Mars in Aries. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, because without that the algorithm is not going to promote. Consider becoming my patron on Patreon, and or making a donation or booking a reading. Thank you. Bye.